This podcast is all about you guys and your journey in music and how you guys got to where you are now.
How we got to where we are now? Well, a bunch of time in the
was that a
studio.
question?
Well, it's just gonna. We'll start with you, David. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in San Leandro, up by Oakland.
Okay.
Then I moved to Kansas for a couple of years, and then to Bakersfield until I was 17, then down to LA.
Okay. And were you
And
always
now Huntington Beach.
Oh, okay. Right on. When did you get into music?
When did I get into music?
Yeah. Like, how old were you when you started like getting into music?
Well, I got my first drum set when I was 10, and I was already into music before that. Like before I even got my drum set, I was air drumming to music. And when I was 10, I got my first drum set, and I sat down and I was immediately able to play a beat. It was
wow.
I was pretty impressed with myself. Yeah. Just from air drumming in my bedroom.
That's incredible. With
Yeah.
kick and everything, right? When you got the set?
Everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Sat down, I could play it all.
So obviously you're destined to do what you do today.
Air drumming is real. So yeah, it was pretty crazy from air drumming for at least probably since I was 8. And then when I was 10, they got me my first drum set, and I literally sat down and I was able to play beats to songs the minute I sat down from so much air drumming. It just came.
Were you listening to music and trying to play along to it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you listening to at the time? Like,
at that time, it was just like local radio station kind of pop rock stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really matter. I was just playing for drums. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then I got the drum set, and I think that year for Christmas, I got Van Halen record.
Okay.
So then, still the little players with the headphones. So I'm in
little Discman?
No, before Discman.
Before Discman. Okay.
Oh yeah. Way before.
Okay.
So playing in my bedroom to Van Halen's first record.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Cool.
And then once you started doing that, were there other kids in your school or anything like that also played? Like, how did you start playing with people?
Well, I didn't for a few years, but when I got into junior high, I don't even know why I did this. There was a saxophone player that was really good, and doing sheet music stuff from the school. And I go, come over to my house, let's try to jam out. I don't know what I thought was going to play me with a sax player. And we came over, I was just playing a beat, thinking like it's guitar or something.
Sure.
And he started playing, and it was so bad. It was awful. It was so bad. It wasn't until I was like 14 until I met guys, freshman in high school, when I met guys that actually played guitar and bass. And my mom used to drive me to rehearsals.
Wow.
And pick me up. So that was pretty cool.
Okay. And with that band, did you guys end up starting to play shows and stuff? Or was it kind of just very garage, just for fun?
Just garage stuff. I don't think we ever played a show.
Okay. When did you start getting into shows and performing in more of a serious?
Not until I moved from Bakersfield down to Burbank. We had our first band we moved, it's called LAPD. And
that's a rat name.
me, Reggie from Korn, James from Korn, and another guy, Richard, who was a singer. So we moved down to LA or Burbank, and then we started playing some shows on the Sunset Strip. And then just one day we told the singer it wasn't going to work out, and we found John, and we got him, and Brian, the other guitar player, joined us, and started making Korn songs, and then we started playing clubs everywhere we could.
Wow. Yeah. And I've actually interviewed Brian for this podcast as well. And he told me the whole, like, kind of the Korn experience and just the ups and downs and everything guys went through. But it's crazy that, because wasn't John, he joined later, right? Weren't you guys kind of playing? He was telling me you guys were playing shows without a singer, or am I hearing two different stories?
So check it out. We rented a house. There's a little bedroom in the front. Head took. He was sitting there for like 6 hours a day playing like Yngwie Malmsteen stuff, like totally shredding on guitar. And he knew that our singer wasn't really good at the time at all, so he didn't have anything to do with us. And then I think I think Brian and James went to Bakersfield because everyone was from Bakersfield.
Yeah, you guys were all from up around the area.
They saw John play in his band that he was in at the time, and they loved his singing. They came back and they told us about John. And he was playing another show in Bakersfield, and I went down and saw the show, and I walked up to him afterwards. I go, "Hey, you're a great singer. We have this band going down in LA. We have a place to stay. I can move you into our house. Do you want to come down and play with us?" And he just says, "Yeah." He goes, "Sure, I'll do it." And at the time, I had one of those. Remember those Toyota vans with the little flat front?
Oh yeah.
They don't make them anymore. So I had one of those with no back seats. It was like just a big carpet for all my drums.
Mm-hmm.
So I came down, I put in his bed, all of his clothes, like a nightstand, and him and his girlfriend came back to us, moved into our house. And then me, James, Reggie, and John started playing. And as soon as Head heard us play, he goes, "Okay, now I want to join your band."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He didn't want anything to do with our old band because he knew it wasn't good. But as soon as he heard us, he's like, "Yeah, I want to be in your band." So then that's how Korn started.
Wow, that's incredible.
Universal Studio, started playing all of our songs and writing stuff, and then we started playing all the clubs in local Huntington Beach, and then we started doing everything in Hollywood, and pretty soon we were selling out all the clubs. And I mean that's when shows were like shows.
Sure. Yeah, that's incredible. That's so crazy. Okay, Richard, we got you back. So born in back. Yeah, how's it going? So you born in you said Richmond? Or no,
Northridge, California.
Yeah. Northridge, then Santa Clarita. So you went from LA to still LA County up by Magic Mountain. And how old were you when you made that move?
I think I was like 7 years old.
Oh, okay.
Northridge and Santa Clarita, like maybe 15 miles apart. That's it. It's really close, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close. Pretty close. So I was like 7 years old when I moved up there, and I just got into guitar because my friends had guitars, and we started a band together, and we learned nothing but Metallica songs.
Oh, really?
Did I just
Metallica?
Well, yeah, because it was like the only like riff-centric guitar stuff, out there. So I used that to basically learn how to play and sing, and then that's how I became a singer, because our band needed a singer, and they just drew my name out of a hat like 3 times, so I had to learn how to sing and play.
Oh, really? So you guys were all in a band together, no singer, and it was whoever's name got chosen was the chosen one, so to speak?
Yeah. So they put like all of our names on a piece of paper and then put a question mark, meaning, we go find another singer. And literally they drew my name out of there 3 times. So I'm like, damn it.
Hey, Rich, when you're playing guitar and singing, was it hard to do a rhythm on guitar and do a totally different vocal melody?
It was hard, but I liked that challenge. Like that was what I was intending to do when I learned all the Metallica songs, because that's what Hetfield does. Hetfield can separate his hands from his vocal rhythm.
It's like drumming.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking. It's like being ambidextrous.
Sure. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like when I would write songs later on, playing guitar and singing, I would make sure that I made the vocals completely different from the guitars, just to test myself to see if I could sing and play it.
Wow,
yeah, that sounds like really hard.
Yeah, that's fascinating. What's this band you formed in? Like, how old were you guys when the name was being chosen out of the hat, so to speak, and the band got going?
I think I was like 12 years old.
Wow, so you started really early as well.
Yeah. And then I just continued playing through high school in different bands. And then after high school, we were playing out. We were playing the Hollywood scene and all that, and kind of fell into the Hollywood trap of bands, And then I quit playing, and then came back and quit playing again. And then I saw that these guys were doing a singer audition, so I decided to try something new and just sing.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were in bands, And then were you taking music pretty seriously? I mean, I would think, right? If you
It was kind of weird when he came in to sing. He was like playing air guitar when he was singing. Like,
no,
what's he doing?
No. I was not.
It's so funny when you see bands and the singer doesn't know what to do with their hands because they're just singing, so they're air guitar and shit. He didn't do air guitar.
No, I definitely don't know what to do with my hands still. I'm like, what do I do with my hands?
Right. Oh, it's always fun. That's fascinating too. Cause yeah, if you're used to playing guitar and singing at the same time, now you're just in front of the mic and you're like, am I supposed to be dancing? Like, do I just stand here? Like, how do you build the stage presence? Is it just repetitive practicing and watching yourself in a mirror? Like, I mean, I don't even know.
Well, the way that I do it is I just keep doing it, right? Because eventually my hands are going to find something to do that's comfortable, right? Whether it's grabbing the mic stand or just a mic grip or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody would look at you and think that you don't know what to do with your hands. It looks totally natural.
Well, now it does.
I mean, I didn't even think about it when we first started playing together. I didn't even consider that you were a guitar player too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Right. And, you know, I was totally used to hiding behind my guitar, essentially, you know, during the music only parts. So now when the music only parts hit, I'm like, what do I do?
Well, okay. So tell me, Rich, about these. Okay. So these earlier bands, you said you were in bands and you stopped playing and then you were back into bands. And then what made you like, did the bands break up and that's kind of why you stopped in between the couple of bands there prior, or?
Well, so I had the bands kind of fizzled out, let's just say.
Got it.
And I basically quit music so I could start my career, right? Like I started a career in IT when I was like, 25 or 24 or something like that. So I had to step away so that I could start a career because the music thing wasn't panning out. And I had to be realistic. And if I want any good type of quality of life, I have to have a career, right? Once I established my career, I came back to music just because I missed it. You know, I don't know if you're a musician or not, but once a musician, always a musician. You always get that itch to play again.
Sure. I mean, I don't play well, but I can play guitar and I like to try and sing and stuff. And in high school, I tried to play in bands, but I knew that wasn't my destiny. So I tried to figure another way into the industry, and it was through radio and now obviously a podcast. But I had to go with what I was pretty good at, but never. if my friends are over like, oh, let's go jam. Like, I love that. Like, it's just something so fun about playing music and just kind of being immersed in that whole atmosphere.
It's the best.
Right. That's the itch, you know what
right.
I mean? Like you get that itch, like, oh, I want to play, I want to jam. I want to be able to click with people, not by talking to them, but just through music. Mm-hmm. And that kind of brought me back to it. And then I recorded a couple albums after I came back to it. And then that band fizzled out and I decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do this for fun. You know, and how I decided to do it for fun was I had been writing guitar and playing, you know, and singing the entire time. I was like, you know, I'm just going to be a singer now. So I started going on to Craigslist, finding bands that needed singers and that would post their instrumental music. And I would take that music and I would cut it up into a different arrangement, right? I'd basically take out the parts that I didn't like and then reform the song back together. I'd sing over it and send it back to the bands. And
did you ever consider joining any of those bands?
Nope. I did. You get used to and.
Yeah, you froze on us again there for a second.
Was, hey, did you lose me?
Oh, no, now you're back. So you would take the songs, break them up, and then that's where you kind of cut out.
Oh, okay. So I'd take the songs and I'd sing over them after I'd piece them back together. And then I would send them back to the band just for fun. Like, hey, check out what I did to your song. But I never had any intention of joining these bands. I was using it as practice for myself, you know, to learn different chord progressions and everything.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because David asked if you if you had any intention of joining the band at all, and you didn't.
No, I definitely didn't. So I did that for like a year and a half, and then these guys put out their singer audition or their singer search. So I wanted to do the same thing with that. And when they first put out their audition, I responded to them, gave them my bio and all that stuff, and then they didn't respond to me for like 5 months. So
honestly, I have no idea how that even happened. Seriously.
Yeah. So then one day I checked my email and they're like, "Hey, better late than never, sing over this." And they sent me a track. And I took that track and I did my little, chop, rearrange thing. And I sent it back to them. And then they didn't respond to me for a week.
Was that strategic, David? Was that?
No, not at all.
But they didn't like it too much, like at first. I don't think.
At first, it was all ego. We were thinking, who is this guy taking our music and chopping it up and rearranging? We do that. And then after like 2 days, we're listening to it in the studio and we're thinking, well, this makes way more sense now the way he did it. So we're okay, drop the ego, just get used to it. He rearranged it. Now the song makes sense and it's way better. So then we called him and asked him to come down. And we finally came down. We played for like 5 hours or so.
Yeah. So when they finally responded to me, they're like, "Oh, see what you can do over these." So they sent me 2 more tracks, and they had this song that was like 6 or 7 minutes long. And I was able to take that song, cut it into pieces, and make 2 songs out of it. So we essentially had 4 songs to work on when I came down to audition with the band.
Oh, wow. So yeah, well, at first you guys must have thought like, yeah, what an ego. He's taking our songs and chopping them up, but he chops them up and then you created 4 songs out of what they had sent you.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
That lasted like a day. And then we looked at each other and said, but now it makes way more sense and it's better. So it's gone.
It was a no-brainer
No
at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
The first day we got in the same room and played together, I think everyone pretty much knew. I mean, we gelled so great, and the vibe was amazing. Everyone felt it. It was really good.
And yeah, it was a cool practice. That first practice was really cool. That I almost didn't go to because I didn't want to join a band, remember? So when they asked me to join or to audition, I said no. And my wife basically pushed me to go do the audition because she was like, "Look, you've been going on Craigslist or YouTube or wherever you're going and just writing music for strangers this entire time. This is your passion. You need to go pursue it. And there's a band with David Silveria in it that wants you to try out. You need to go do this."
That was going to be my next question to you. Like, did David give it, like, he must have given it quite a bit of legitimacy. Sorry, I can't speak right now. To the band. I mean, right? The guy's been playing with a band that has look at the plaque behind him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up listening to Korn and watching David play and all that. So he was like one of my heroes growing up. So I had to just really think about it. I didn't really put it into that perspective. I was more just like, oh, I don't want to drive 80 miles south every week to go join this band. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But now it works, so it's all good.
Was there any sort of nerves there going in and like trying to present, like, I mean, singing in front of, David, for example? I mean, the guy's a legend and we're talking about him like he's not sitting right here, but I mean, that must have been pretty nerve-wracking. I would think.
It was. Once it sunk in that I was actually going to go down there and be in a room with David, I was nervous. So I think I drank like half a bottle of wine before I got to the rehearsal spot just to calm my nerves. And then I don't know if you've ever seen David in person, but he's a lot taller than he looks in magazines or
I have not, but hopefully soon enough we'll all get to hang out together.
Yeah. So he's a lot taller. He's like a little bit taller than me. And it looked like he just had got out of the gym or something because he's all swole.
Oh yeah, he looks really strong. So
Yeah.
not only that, you're like, wow, this guy could really kick my ass.
I was just more like, man, you're a big dude, man. Like, and then they put my mic stand right in front of him, so I'm literally singing right in front of David. Like if I sing too hard, I just might spit all over his cymbals, you know. But luckily, none of that happened.
Was that intentional, David?
No, I mean, usually the singer's in the middle of the room or stage, so
right.
yeah.
I was kidding. Like, just
yeah,
didn't
but not
like
facing the drummer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, David, when did you guys form? Because I know between or after Korn, you were in another band for a while. And when did you decide, or what happened with? Not what happened, but why did you guys decide to start the breaking the sequence? Like, how did that start prior to getting Rich in the band?
The band before that, you mean?
Yeah, or just how did this current band start? Like, was it off of just like, how did you meet the rest of the guys, and how did it start prior to bringing Rich into it?
Well, me, our bass player Chris, and one of our guitar player Joe, we were in another band, and the singers were not really good. We gave it like a year, and basically no one even wanted to pay attention to us. So we told them that we're going to split off and do our own thing. And then we got Mike, our other guitar player, to join us. And then that's when we started doing the singer search and found Richard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that must, but what year was this? This must have been pretty recently, like within the couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. Was
2018.
18.
2018.
Oh, okay. So 2018, you joined the band. Sorry, go ahead.
I think they put out their singer search in March of 2018, and I didn't hear back from them until the end of July.
Oh, wow.
I really don't know how that happened, honestly.
So end of July, you're in the band around then, July, August.
I actually didn't join the band. They didn't ask me to join the band until I think early September or late August, something like that. So
almost in 2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the end of August or early September.
Okay. So once you joined the band, do you guys start writing songs right away? And you've put out a record, but that was, the Acronym came out this year. Prior to that, were you guys just writing songs or trying to get it together, or were you playing out? Like how? Because obviously, 2020 was a wash for everybody, and we're still kind of in the same mess. How did the band start going? And then obviously COVID hits, and did that kind of throw you guys up against the wall?
Oh yeah, we totally went into writing mode.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so in 2018, after I joined, like I said before, we had 4 songs already from the get-go that we could start playing. I think by the end of September, we had like 6 or 7 songs already. And we decided at that point, hey, let's debut the band at NAMM, at a NAMM.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So we went into the studio and recorded 3 songs. And at that point, we hadn't really found our sound yet, because when I came into the band, we wanted to be a rock band, right? And as we started writing more and more, we just started naturally gravitating to heavier and heavier music. And I think we did that because David started playing more with his body, and he was like really starting to get into it again. Because David hadn't really played drums for, like 13 years, right, David?
I hadn't. There you said.
Yeah, you hadn't played drums for real in like 13 years at that point, right?
Well, the band before we were the band,
right?
You didn't play drums in the bands that you were prior, David?
No, I did. That's what I'm saying. I have been.
Okay.
Okay. Well, he hadn't been playing heavier, more aggressive music in that time, and as we started getting heavier and more aggressive, we just kept gravitating that way. But anyhow, we released our first single. Did I lock up?
I've still got you.
Yeah.
Did you lock up on your end? I still got you. I got you,
Okay.
Richard.
So
You have me?
yes,
I have you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, the joy of Zoom.
I know, right? I know. So we released our first single in January of 2019, right? And
Was that
I think that's the
Delusional?
first track. No, it was Pity.
Okay.
Pity was the very first single that we released, and that was just the first taste of music that we put out there for everyone. But after that, we released, I think, Change Your Mind at the same time, which is more of a rock song. We released Hesitation, which is more of a rock song. And then after that, we released Delusional, which is a metal song.
Yeah. You know? So the first song I had heard was Delusional. And then I thought that, and Midlife Crisis, which is awesome. I want to talk to you about that. And then I figured that the rest of it was just kind of off of Acronym when that came out.
No,
I think
so
they'll set the stage for the heavier stuff.
Yeah. Initially, when we first came out, we came out as biased, right? Then biased. And because of the political climate of everything that was decided to unacronym bias into breaking in a sequence. And that's probably why you only heard Delusional first, because when we dropped Delusional, that's when we became breaking in a sequence.
Oh, okay. So you guys were just Bias first. That was the band name, and it wasn't an acronym.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And with Bias, did you, when you were putting out those songs, you said you premiered your band at NAMM, and were you like playing out quite a bit? Did you jump on the road and tour at all, playing different cities, or was it still kind of writing mode and getting a record together?
It was a little bit of both. So we were writing, and then we went on a small tour at the end of 2019. I want to say it was, and that was cool. Hold on here.
No worries.
Sorry, I got a phone call. I got a phone call with that. Yeah, we went on a small tour, Little John, at the end of 2019, and we basically used that time to really get comfortable with each other. You know, like, it's one thing to practice in the studio with each other, you know, all the time, and it's another thing to actually go on the road and, you know, spend some time with these guys and play shows night after night with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it really helped us gel even further.
You know what it really did? Now when we're rehearsing and somebody farts, we know exactly who it is.
You're like, oh, Rich, you.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Well, David, were you touring through, like, I mean, after Korn and you started a couple of bands after that, and were you
touring?
Always? I'm sorry?
Did you say, was I touring?
Yeah, were you touring, or did you kind of were you playing and just trying to form bands? And okay.
Just rehearsing, writing music.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Was that new, or like, tell me about that experience going from touring, you know, back then and then touring now with the new band and new guys? Is it?
I mean, yeah, obviously it was totally different. I mean, you know, Korn were doing arenas and
right.
And then we did a club tour. Yeah, absolutely.
Was it cool to kind of get back in that club vibe for you?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, like Richard said, it was mostly probably about the bonding with all the guys and really spending time together and getting to know everyone's bodily odors and stuff.
And knowing how anal retentive I become, how OCD I become on tour.
Well, after that run of shows, tell me where you guys were at when COVID hit and when coronavirus kind of shut down everything.
The shows were way before that. Rich, you want to tell them about the whiskey?
No, you go ahead, because my connection's getting spotty. So go ahead.
Do you remember the date? I don't.
I don't remember the date. It was the day before the world shut down. That's all I know.
Oh, so like March
Whatever
to
date that was.
11th, 12th ish.
Yes, it was the last show they did at the Whiskey, and we had planned the show to invite managers, a few people I knew, to come out and see us and hopefully get management. And during the day, like 2 people called me and said that this COVID thing is freaking me out. I can't make it. And then like an hour and a half before we played, another guy called and said, I can't come out because COVID. So we ended up playing a show. The turnout was pretty decent, but it was the last show at the Whiskey, and then they shut everything down.
Wow. Yeah. So you guys were the last band to play there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like a live show. Yeah. Because they've been doing streaming shows.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, getting those calls from those managers, were you guys nervous at that point yet? Or were you just hopeful that it was all kind of I don't know, I don't want to say blown out of proportion because obviously it wasn't, but like, as a band, were you guys worried or was something that you were like very hopeful that, okay, this is maybe just something that's going to, fly on past us and we'll be touring soon and, sooner than later?
Everyone was really disappointed because I had some really big managers coming to see us. Mm-hmm. And at that point, when everything first got shut down, everyone thought 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Right. Yeah. It was flatten the curve. 2 weeks will flatten the curve.
14 days, flatten the curve.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we ended up getting the managers. Some of them were supposed to come see us. But he was the last one to actually cancel. I think that was I was kind of bummed that night.
Yeah. The guy that you have currently managing you?
Yes.
Wow. So it ended up working, right?
Yeah.
Andy Gould and Paul Gargano.
And yes. they were the last to be like, I don't really feel comfortable showing up. What about the turnout at the show? You probably were expecting quite a big crowd, and was the show turnout different?
It wasn't really big, but it was all right.
I mean, I want to say there was like, I don't know, I couldn't even count how many people there, but it was good.
That's considering
that there was a world epidemic happening right then and there, a pandemic happening right then and there. People still showed up, so thank you to everyone who showed up to that show.
Yeah.
It was still fun. Whenever we get up on stage, we're still having fun no matter what.
That's awesome. And so the world shuts down, and then what do you guys do? Like, what's next? You're like, okay, we got to kind of self-quarantine here for a bit. Do you continue writing music? And then tell me about going from Bias to Breaking in a Sequence.
Okay, so basically when everything shut down, there was so much uncertainty. We didn't know what was going to happen, because we were hopeful that the Whiskey was going to be the catalyst that started, whatever we were going to do in 2020.
Sure.
Right. And so we took, I want to say, like, what's that? What'd you say, David?
Shit, did I freeze?
You did for a second. Now you're back.
Now you're back.
What'd you say, David?
We were hoping to get management out of the Whiskey show, and all of them canceled. So, yeah. And then the world shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Rich.
So we took a couple weeks just to see where everything was going, because it was only supposed to be 14 days.
Right.
And at that point, the guys had started jamming again, and they sent me this 21-minute long jam song that they had, right? And so I took that 21-minute jam song and I cut it all up and I made a song out of it. And we basically used it as our lockdown challenge song. I don't know if you remember, Sammy Hagar went out and put out a challenge, like, no producer, no studio, just write and record a song with your band, film it and post it. So we did that. And I think that helped us a lot, because that helped us actually slide into our new sound.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so if you go onto YouTube, you can see that song and you can see kind of like my making of video of that song. But from there, we decided, okay, well, let's just keep writing because we don't know what's really going to happen with this pandemic. We have no clue. So we just kept getting together like maybe every couple weeks to a month, because if someone had the sniffles or anything, we would cancel practice.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. So at that point, we just kept writing and rehearsing. We just wanted to make sure that we were tight. And then I think Andy reached out to David, or David, did you reach back out to Andy? I don't remember.
He reached out to me and asked if he could come down to our studio to listen to us rehearse live. And then like, I think like maybe a day before he was supposed to come, he called me and said that he was kind of freaked out by coming down to the studio with all of us in the room about COVID. So we said, okay, it's all good. Then he called me again and he said he was going to come down. And that time it was like 4 hours before we were supposed to play, and Richard had already left his house. So I said, okay. So then we ended up like 3 weeks later, we rented a room at SIR in Hollywood and had the band and like maybe 2 or 3 people helping us with our gear. We loaded in, set it all up. The crew went like off to the side, and in the middle of the room was Andy and Paul in 2 chairs sitting there.
You were like on it was like a judge show, like Idol or something.
And before we did that, I actually asked Andy, I go, should we rent a room at SIR and you guys can come watch us? And he goes, no, I want to watch you guys in your element, in your rehearsal. So then after 2 cancellations, he goes, all right, let's go to SIR. So we ended up playing for Andy and Paul and the 3 people we took with us to do our gear. And that was it. And we played for them. They said, wow, this is way better than the recording even. So right then they said, we're going to be your managers.
Wow. That's awesome. Validating, obviously, for the band.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That is awesome. And so this is in the midst of 2020 too. And when do you guys put out and record Delusional? Was that something that was done with that when you guys were just Bias?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about Midlife Crisis? And why choose? And I'm curious about that because I'm a huge Faith No More fan, and that's such a great song. Why did you guys decide on that as a cover?
Well, that's a long story. That's a loaded story. But essentially, when I first joined this band, Joe, Chris, and David. Well, Joe and Chris really wanted to do a Faith No More song ever since I joined, because they say that I somehow my voice reminds them of Patton a little bit. And I said, no, there's no way, like Patton is like God out there to everyone, you know what I mean? And he's really amazing.
Sure.
And I just thought that it would just bring, unwanted attention to the band if we did a Faith No More cover. And what happened was when we went on tour in September of 2019, we were driving in the middle of nowhere, and the live version of Midlife Crisis came on, from the Faith No More Deluxe edition.
Yes.
Of Angel Dust. So that live version came on, and it was a little bit faster. The vocals were more aggressive and everything. And when I heard it, I was like, we could totally do this. We could do this song. Let's try it. So when we got back from tour, we learned it really quickly, and then threw our own little twist on it. And then we were going into the studio to track our other songs, because we were anticipating either releasing a EP or an album. We didn't know which one, but we just wanted to get things recorded. I finished my vocals like for, I want to say 7 songs in like 24 hours. So we had a whole extra day. We had a whole extra day. So we decided hey, let's just record Midlife Crisis too. And that can be the Easter egg on this EP or album. And then we just sat on it. We literally sat on all of the music that we recorded at the end of 2019, because 2020 got washed out.
Sure.
And then we sat down and did the showcase with Andy and Paul. And they're like, okay, so what are you guys planning to do next? You know what I mean? And we're like, well, I don't know. Maybe we should release some new music. We haven't released anything since August, which we released Delusional in August of 2020, I believe it was. So they're like, maybe you shouldn't release any music at the end of the year because we don't know what's going to happen with the election. You know, everyone's lives are in shambles right now because of the pandemic and the election. No one's going to pay attention to any new music that you guys drop or any new music that anyone drops. And I said, well, how about a cover? They're like, a cover might be good because, you know, it's familiar enough that people will hear it and go, oh, I know that song, and they'll listen closer. Right. And so they heard our Faith No More cover and they're like, this is perfect. You should release this. And at that point, when they said that, I was like, well, then let's remake the video too. So it'll be a cover song and a cover video. It'll be a full, you know, homage to them.
Yeah, I love the video that you guys put together because it's like live, but you know you're laying down, singing up, and then like the fast like the how the camera's moving quickly and just like everything about it. Was that all shot during the quarantine? Were you able to like take a day to record it somewhere?
Yeah, that was shot during the quarantine. So I think we filmed that in October of 2020, David. Or I think it was October of 2020 that we filmed that video. And it was like a 10 or 11 hour shoot in a warehouse that we found in like South Central or something like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And were you big on Faith No More as well, David?
Oh, absolutely. Mike Borden's one of my biggest influences as drummer, for sure.
Really? That's that. Yeah. I had a chance to interview Roddy for his other band, Man on Man, and he's just such a sweet dude. I'm sure you've had a chance to probably meet them and play with Faith No More, but I was just shocked how nice he was.
I don't think we ever did play with Faith No More.
Oh, really? I didn't know. Maybe you crossed paths at a festival or something. I mean, as Korn, you guys played so many shows and with so many. We're on so many of those big, you know, stacked lineup festivals, but that's awesome that you were able to cover that song. And it's a killer cover too.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
thanks,
so
man.
putting out the record or acronym, like, so was there I mean, you guys talked about kind of waiting. Okay, it's time to release a cover. When was it time to go, you know what, let's just put out the songs we had before and put it out as a collection of music?
We haven't really talked about that. I mean, we went in and recorded 8 songs. So we're hanging on to a few of them, but we haven't really made a plan what to do with the songs to be released.
Oh, so there's still a couple more. Sure. I wasn't sure if like that.
Yeah.
So the collection of songs that's out now is you just call it Acronym because that was when it became. Now it's called Breaking in a Sequence, not Bias.
Yes.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So there's actually a whole nother EP's worth of material that's just sitting in tow right now. Yeah.
All right. Well, do you mind? Did you have a projection or a plan for that yet? Or are you still kind of figuring it out?
We're still trying to figure it out. We have another single that we have to release off of Acronym before we start the full planning process for the second EP. But right now we're really focused on trying to write more material, you know, to basically, you know, fill up the catalog so that we have like maybe an album's worth of material to release if we get a chance to do a debut album.
Okay. And what about like the live streaming things? Have you done that at all, or do you have any interest in doing that?
We haven't done it. We started exploring that, but then everything started opening back up. So I'm not sure if we're actually going to do that. One thing that we did try at our rehearsal studio is set up GoPros everywhere and try to stream audio from our in-ear monitor board into that video. But I mean, that's editing work that still needs to be done.
The process of
that's a big job.
We haven't really quite figured it all out yet.
Sure. Yeah, that is a big job. I mean, editing, especially, I don't know how many cameras you had going on, but like that process is quite a beast. So I can't imagine. Well, I mean, it does look like shows are opening. I mean, fingers crossed, but like Bonnaroo's scheduled for beginning of September, you have Outside Lands that was announced. I think Ride Fest was announced. And so little tours are happening here in fall. So I hope that you guys will be able to get on the road, or at least play another show at the Whiskey, or, you know, get these songs out there in a live setting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love to play live again.
Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and chatting. I really, really appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, I have one more question for you both, though. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Aspiring artists. Well, first they have to give it everything they have to be successful, or even try to be successful. They have to be full on into it, and they have to be able to take criticism and possibly use it to their advantage, or or if they don't have it, they just don't have it, you know. But if someone's going to try, they have to be all in.
I love it.
I want to add to that. Don't be afraid to sound stupid, or try different things that could possibly sound stupid, because that's how people find themselves, right? That's how you find your style and your sound, is you have to make the mistake in order to learn from it, right? Like,
especially from a singer.
From a singer or a guitar player, whatever, like, I think you still don't have to be afraid to sound or look stupid while you're doing something, because you have to learn it. Everyone has to learn somehow.
Yep. I think being the singer takes a little bit different kind of confidence, because playing the drums, I'm just hitting things. I'm not really, not making vocal sounds. But so as a singer, I think you have to give yourself so much confidence to just belt it out and not be afraid to sound bad, or do what you have to do to learn. And it seems like it's a lot more personal of a ordeal, right? Being a singer, not holding back.
Kind of. I don't know. I mean, it's for me, it's all technique. For me, it's technique. I always want to learn, like, how you do something correctly or properly, or why a singer does what they do. That's how I think. So I would just say, don't be afraid to sound stupid if you're a singer, or if you're a guitar player. Try something, even if it doesn't quite work out the way you thought it in your head. You may stumble upon something else.
Yeah, you got to try. Got to just give it your all.
Bringing it backward.